Sheriff's deputy seriously injured last night in the line of duty trying to stop a smuggler. And sadly, it wasn't the only such incident in that area. A Tombstone Marshal's Office deputy was also hurt in a separate chase involving a smuggler. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Mary Coleman.
And I'm Dan Maries. The most serious of the injuries was the Cochise County Sheriff's deputy who was airlifted to Banner UMC in Tucson with numerous fractures. As we told you last night, the deputy was setting up a spike strip across Highway 80 between Bisbee and Tombstone, trying to put an end to a chase involving a suspected human smuggler when he fell 15 feet down. He was so seriously hurt that the other first responders had to perform life-saving measures until he could be airlifted to Tucson. Sheriff Mark Daniels issued a statement tonight saying, in part, quote, "I have met with the family of our injured deputy as we navigate resources and lodging during this emotional time." He goes on to say the deputy is in the best medical hands with the staff at UMC. The deputy's family and his sheriff's family are standing united as we wait for an update from medical staff. 47-year-old Amber Bernadette Fuaga from Maricopa in Pinal County was arrested on charges of human smuggling and driving under the influence. The sheriff's office says additional charges are pending.
And shortly after the medical helicopter left with the deputy, there was yet another chase just up Highway 80 in Tombstone. While the marshal says both smugglers were caught, his deputy had to go to the ER. We sent our Andres Rendon to Tombstone for the latest on the crisis in Cochise County.
In Tombstone, officials are saying that there is an increase in dangerous pursuits, and they're attributing those to an increase in human smuggling.
You want to smuggle human beings, do it somewhere else. Don't do it here.
During a pursuit last night, the deputy was trying to set tire spikes to stop a vehicle from speeding away, but fell 15 feet instead. The driver was arrested. A separate pursuit also occurred last night where a Tombstone Marshal's Office deputy suffered minor injuries but is expected to be okay. Marshal Jim Adams from Tombstone says the number of pursuits along Highway 80 this year is alarming. And according to Adams, most of the pursuits are caused by someone smuggling drugs or people.
And Highway 80 is one of the most notorious, high-intensity drug trafficking and human smuggling corridors in Cochise County. The typical pursuit will come across to Douglas, Highway 80, Mexican border, goes through Douglas, goes through Bisbee, comes through Tombstone, goes through Benson, hits Interstate 10, and it goes to parts unknown.
Last night's incidents were not isolated. Cochise County Sheriff Mark Daniels says he's noticed an increase in these types of pursuits within the last 2 years.
We've had deputies, we have law enforcement officers been placed in harm's way all week. It's been a very sad week here in Cochise County, but this has become a norm when it comes to the smuggler drivers that drive recklessly, no regard for human life or respect for communities or citizens or the migrants that they're transporting.
As the number of pursuits go up, the number of available resources for each incident goes down. Marshal Adams says with a small community like Cochise County, they've had to rely on the state government to provide funds for overtime and adequate staffing.
So at any given time, like today, there's 2 of us on right now. But at night, there might be 1. Sometimes officers will come in and help out other officers, maybe do a little bit of overtime to try and combat this problem, to be backup for them, because otherwise, my deputy's out there by themselves.
Sheriff Daniels says that the federal government needs to be more aware of the dangers stemming from the border and how desperately resources are needed to make sure that staff is prepared for when the next pursuit comes. In Tombstone, Andres Rendon, 13 News.
And Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs also issued a statement tonight.